Born into a broken, desperate family in August of 1959, Anthony Edward Sowell was an American rapist and serial killer, charged with the murder of 11 women in Cleveland, Ohio. Originally from East Cleveland, Sowell was described by family and friends as being a shy and quiet child, who along with 8 siblings and cousins, grew up in a fatherless home where episodes of violence were a common occurrence. According to his niece, Sowell's mother subjected the siblings to physical abuse while she forced her own children to watch from adjacent rooms. In one incident, she forced Sowell's niece to strip naked in front of the other children, then whipped her with electrical cords until she bled. Sowell began raping his niece on an almost daily basis for 2 years, starting at the age of 11. In high school, Anthony was often teased by boys in his class for his lack of sexual experience with girls. Little did they know, Sowell had progressed from violating his niece to raping his cousins on a regular basis. And even though she continually reported the incidents to the police, nothing was ever done about it. By the age of 18, Sowell had impregnated a young woman, leading to his decision into joining the Marines. While enlisted, he received a Good Conduct Medal with 1 Service Star, a Certificate of Commendation, and 2 letters of appreciation for his time served from 1978 through 1985. He was trained as an electrician and spent time traveling throughout the country to practice his newfound craft, and on certain occasions, leaving the States to work overseas. He also found time to get married, although the relationship was short-lived due to complications between the young couple. His former wife told her mother that she felt sorry for Sowell and suspected that he was becoming an alcoholic. She eventually divorced Anthony, and he soon took his leave from the armed forces. When Sowell returned home, his old neighborhood had changed. The economic level had gone from working class to poverty. Crime had moved in, and drugs such as crack cocaine had become popular for many living in East Cleveland. The streets had become a haven for criminal activity, with local prostitutes looking for money to fuel their next fix. Now divorced and out from under the watchful thumb of the military, Anthony began to drink heavily, and he was arrested for various crimes including domestic violence and public intoxication throughout the late 1980s. In 1989, Sowell baited a woman into his house by claiming that her boyfriend was waiting for her. Once inside, he bound and choked her, and then raped her several times. Sowell was later charged with kidnapping and rape, but failed to show up to the hearing. An arrest warrant was issued for him, and it would take 7 months and another alleged rape before police were able to bring Sowell into custody. Sowell was found guilty of rape and was sentenced to 5 to 15 years in prison. During this time, he was a model inmate. He graduated from high school and attended 12-step alcoholism programs. Regardless, there was no early parole for Sowell. He was released from prison on June the 20th, 2005. He again returned to his hometown and moved in with his mother. He also completed his parole requirements and registered as a sex offender. By March 2006, he was working full-time at a rubber factory, but lost the job in July of 2007 after he failed to show up to work. He then turned to selling scrap metal for income and began attending the Cleveland Clinic Foundation, where he studied emergency medicine. Sowell also had a new girlfriend living with him for the first time. When later questioned by police, she recalled noticing a foul odor inside the house, but like others in the neighborhood, she attributed the smell to the sausage factory located down the street from Sowell's house. In September of 2009, Sowell was once again reported to police for committing rape. A woman who accepted an invitation to his home told police that after the two had a few drinks, Sowell became agitated and assaulted her, beating and choking the woman before violently raping her. When the police arrived at Imperial Avenue to arrest Sowell, he was nowhere to be found. Instead, officers detected the overwhelming odor of decomposing bodies, giving them enough cause to perform a search of his residence. The first 2 bodies were found upstairs behind a locked door, while the remains of 4 others were discovered during the course of the search. Once moving outside to Sowell's yard, police found 3 additional bodies and partial remains of a 4th victim. In all, a total count of 11 bodies were found. According to police, most of the victims were killed by forced strangulation and others were gagged or had ligatures on their bodies when they were discovered. During the time of his arrest, Sowell had at least 3 more rape victims that managed to escape his grasp, although police ignored the reports due to their prior criminal history. Many of the victims were led to his property with intentions to smoke crack, as Sowell was a known drug user throughout the neighborhood. After a short manhunt of only 2 days, Anthony Sowell was captured and arrested. He was charged with 11 counts of aggravated murder and over 70 counts of rape, kidnapping, and abuse of a corpse. He pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, but later changed his plea to simply not guilty. On July the 22nd, 2011, he was convicted on all but 2 counts against him, including the murders of the missing women whose bodies were found rotting inside of his house in 2009. The attorneys representing Anthony argued that his 6th Amendment right was violated by closing the suppression hearing to the press, and that the court should commute his death sentence to life in prison. On December the 8th, 2011, after months of tireless deliberation over Sowell's rights and legal representation, the Ohio Supreme Court rejected a final appeal from Anthony Sowell, affirming his aggravated murder convictions and future death sentence. Sowell is currently planned to be executed on Wednesday, November the 18th, 2020. After the conviction and sentencing, Sowell's former residence was destroyed on the order of city leaders. During the course of the demolition, former neighbors of Sowell gathered outside, cheering and celebrating while bulldozers ripped apart the former home of the man once dubbed as the Cleveland Strangler.